Good morning, everybody. This is Dom, NC4XL. North Carolina is for extreme lovers, and of course, I'm not. I'm just a darling old man. I have a video today that I've been thinking about, and I'm not experienced very much in POTA, only since January when I first started watching it, and since April when I started to activate it, about the 23rd, I think. This video is for activators, those who want to become an activator and have some basic questions which often create a lot of frustrations because we don't really understand it. First of all, before we get started, the frequently asked questions section in POTA, you really need to focus on reading it. It'll answer a lot of questions for you. But activating is a little different. It's like antennas or parks. Every one of them is different. The opinions that I'm presenting are mine and or acquired from experienced activators. Some of them are YouTubers also, so feel free to search for them. We're not going to be the same. We're going to have differences of opinions, and that's okay. As long as we learn to work the way we want. When I say we, that's me, myself, and I, or you. Activating a park is not hard. Sometimes the first time it's overwhelming. So let me start out with the antennas. You have several options here. Which antenna is the best antenna? I hear it, I see it posted all the time. It depends on what you like. Now, I have resonators on the car for all bands. I have a couple dipoles set up in the car if I need them. I had the Wolf River Coil SB1000, great vertical antenna with the radials. And then I have the Chameleon Delta Loop, and I have the Chameleon SS17. I have enough antennas. What dictates which one I use is going to be based on the park. Let's say the end-fed antenna, which is my favorite. I can't put it up in the park because somebody says we don't allow that, or it might be at a park where there's no trees. I don't have a drive-on mount. I don't have a jackite pole. I don't have a tripod that'll hold up a 30-some foot section of fiberglass mast. So I use the Wolf River. I have the Chameleon Delta. The default correction, the fault with that is I have to use a tuner on it. The Wolf River, I have two collars on. I can make it resident on 40 and 20, no issues. I just have to run back and forth. The SS17 is good on 20 by itself, no tuner. But then if I wish to use it on 10 or 12 or 17 or 15 meters, I have to do some adjusting, especially having the counterposes on it, and use a tuner. So those are some of the things that you're going to look at when you get to wherever you're going to go put the park out at. What options are presently available for you? Okay? The end-fed antenna requires getting it up in a tree. Don't let throwing it up in a tree bother you. Get a cheap fishing pole. 2 to 4 ounces of weight. 4 ounces is too much. 2 ounces is just about right. 25-pound test is my suggestion. Don't do it with 8-pound test because you'll snap it. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a fishing pole. And use it to airborne the sinkers up and over where you want to be. Practice it, it's fun. once it comes down on the other side, so if you're going to run 40 foot up, you need 40 foot down, so make sure you got 100 feet of line on, if you understand the reasoning behind that. And then pull your line up, back up and over, and down to where you can hook your end fed up to it. And pull your antenna up. That takes care of one end. Now the end fed I use does not require a counterpose, so I tie it off anywhere from 4 feet, 6 feet above the ground to whatever's around, whether it be a vehicle, a bumper, a luggage rack rail, whatever works for you. That's on an end fed. So we'll give you an idea on the types of antennas. If you have a mag mount, a ham stick, a Hustler resonator, and it's been analyzed and you have it set for the proper SWR, for the frequency you're going to utilize, sit in the car and go. Or run a length of coax and just use the antenna on the car and sit on a picnic bench or something. It's up to you. See, the whole thing about an activator, you're in control, and I stress that very strongly because you need to realize you're the boss, so to speak, when it comes to the equipment that you're using and the method that you go about it. Now, you first-timers, you may disagree with this, but you don't need a fancy laptop. You don't need a fancy device to try to type in and all that kind of stuff because it ain't going to work. Go back to the old-fashioned rule of thumb, grab you a piece of paper, lots of it, and some extra pencils or pens, whichever you prefer, because you're going to possibly experience something you don't expect. That's called a pile-up. And until you're experienced enough in running parks and taking pile-up lists, you're going to slow yourself down trying to type in the call you think you heard into a computer where you realize that the laptop's battery is not going to last as long as the pile-up is. So a suggestion only. Take your pencil and paper. When you put your call out, expect a pile-up. Rule of thumb is take the first and strongest signals. Don't take the first one only and keep going that way if you don't have to. If you can take 3, 4 partial call signs, very simple. The Sierra Whiskey only, or the Kilo Oscar 4 only, Kilo Oscar 4 only. Whatever you heard and you wrote down on paper, okay, there's your secret. The paper, whatever you wrote down there, you can go back and fill in the blanks. If you're on a laptop or a device, you can't do that as easily, especially if it's first time and you're really new and you're already scared and your hands are sweating and you hear all that noise and it's like, wow. That's exactly what it is. And it gets better. As the experience level of yours grows, you'll start seeing 1 hour, maybe 2 hour pile-ups, depending on band conditions, how many operators are out there, what antenna you're using, all variances in your activations. But you're in control. Remember, the hunters need you. You have requirements about sending the logs in. The hunters don't. They log only on their computer or paper, whatever they do at their residence, at their place. They're the only ones that don't have to send logs in. Activators have to send the logs in. Whether you get the 10 contacts or not, it's very appreciative for you to send your logs in on a failed activation. And don't worry about that word failed. That's a learning experience, okay? But the people that you did work will get credit for that park that you're in or parks that you're in. It is going to overwhelm you, and that's expected. That's normal. Have fun with it. The next pile-up after that becomes easier. And the next pile-up after that, you're ready for it. And the next pile-up after that, you're rocking. You're not going to learn it overnight, not going to be at the first activation. So give it some time. Don't beat yourself up. If you make a mistake on a part number, publish it, correct it, and go on about your business. I want you as an activator to remember this. Now, Mike and I use Mike and I've worked with Mike for over 20 years in county hunting, and we're used to contesting, so to speak. We'll use that term. We're used to making a lot of contacts in a short amount of time, and we've learned how to read body language and listen and take partial calls. That's why we use paper. That's why we don't go with the device, because we can get more done in less time, but it's not a contest. Depending on the band conditions, you may get 2 hours, you may get 20 minutes. And if you want to get all the contacts you can, then you work it that way. That's how we work it. Now, everybody's different. Many YouTubers will show you. They log them and they put them on their laptop and they put it all on their device. That's great. Whatever works for you, you're in control. You choose the antenna of your liking. If it doesn't work,